I heard my pal Mark Halperin on Next Up with Mark Halperin on the MK Media Podcast Network talking this morning about the latest Fox News poll that shows only 15% of the American population says that their financial situation has improved as a result of Trump. And he said if the numbers stay like this on Trump's economic approval, it's going to be a bloodbath in November. That not only could Republicans, they will lose the House, but they could lose the Senate too. So your thoughts on how Trump turns that around?
Well, no president has ever been as wonderful as Trump has done overseas. No president has ever been reelected on foreign policy. George H.W. Bush had that fantastic first Gulf War, 1991. 4 days he destroys Saddam's land army. He's polling at 90%, and he loses to Bill Clinton because Clinton says and we weren't. We were in a mild recession in 92, but he said it's the Great Depression. And for all of that, so if you actually look at the statistics, over 4 years, Joe Biden averaged 5.2% inflation every year. Trump came in, it was 3.0. This month, it was 3.0. They think the economy may grow at 4% GDP. He came in at 2%. He's got a very good inflation rate comparatively. But what the left is saying is, we were in power for 4 years and we raised prices by 21.5%, and you've been in office 10 months and you haven't reduced them, it's your fault. And he can't get that message out. So what he needs to remember what James Carville, it's the economy, stupid. The Epstein Files, all that matters is to try to remind everybody what he's done, what he did in the first term, but more importantly, what he's doing next year. What he's doing right now has long-term implication. I'll just get very quickly. He's already pumping 1 million barrels of oil. We've never pumped more than 14 million. He's going to go to 16. He's never done more natural gas. We are the largest natural gas and oil producer in the world. Second, I don't know if he's art of the deal exaggerating when he says he has $20 trillion in foreign investment. Let's say it's half, 10. Last year, Biden, he had 79 billion. So we've never had that before. We've never had that.
You guys know this. Trump is using the tariffs to negotiate deals in which these countries, that he jacks up the tariffs, then he says, I'll lower them by half, but you have to invest a bunch of money in American manufacturing, create jobs here. So he's gotten somewhere between 10 and $20 trillion of investment in America, whereas Joe Biden never even got $1 trillion.
So what I'm getting at is, and then he's going to have this continuation of the big, beautiful tax cut and the deregulation. You deregulate the economy, you give tax cuts, you've got all of this, not just the oil revenue and the export, and he's dealing with the tariff income, as you said, and gas energy prices are already going out. They were $3.48 a gallon during the 4 years of Biden. They're already at $2.98, not here, but nationwide. So what I'm getting at is, if he can survive and get that message out, and you're going to have a lot of psychological lift with the World Cup and the 250th anniversary. It's going to be a nice year.
Yep.
And I think these things will kick in June or July, and he'll be fine if they stick to the message. And that is, the economy was terrible when we came in, we made it better, and now it's getting good, and get the message out.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the message is not Epstein related. But we're in that morass now. So how does that play out? Because the Democrats, they're loving swimming in that pool. They're loving it a little bit less now that Larry Summers has been outed as the chief friend of Jeffrey Epstein. You guys saw this? Former president of Harvard, former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, also worked for Barack Obama. And the first real name to come out, not as somebody who was like receiving trafficked girls, but who was BFFs with Jeffrey Epstein long past the time when we knew what a disgusting scumbag he was. The Miami Herald piece broke in November of 2018, and he's sending Jeffrey Epstein messages like a small schoolgirl asking for his hair to be braided. 2 months later, all the way up to the day before Jeffrey got arrested. Now he's stepped down from all of his duties at Harvard. He's not teaching his classes anymore. So we'll see whether the left continues to love the Epstein story as much as they currently do. But how do you see that playing out over the next year or so?
I don't know if people were accurate when they said Trump was playing five-dimensional chess or whatever they claimed, but he did have a big noose and they put their neck in it. What that I mean is he communicated with Jeffrey Epstein before he was a convicted sexual assaulter, and then he broke it off before he was convicted. These people, and they're 80% of the textual trove has references in a case of political affiliation with Democrats. But most of them, if you looked at what the news says, most of them are after he was convicted. So basically they said...
And convicted, like he pleaded guilty to solicitation of sex with a minor prostitute, which, as you always know, what do I say? That is not a thing. A minor cannot be a prostitute. That's child rape. So he pleaded guilty to that. In 2008, they all knew it. Katie Couric, she knew it. Now she's trying to say, oh, I didn't know when I went to his townhouse for dinner that time. George Stephanopoulos knew. They all knew. They just decided to overlook it because he was rich as F.
Yeah, I don't get it. They have control of the files, so-called files, for 4 years under Biden. And they know, because they have access to them, that most of the people who are mentioned are Democrats, and they know that most of the people who are Democrats who are mentioned after they knew that he was a convicted felon, and so they didn't release them. And yet, when Trump comes in, they said, because you don't release them, you must be implicated, when they know after they raided his home, they deballoted him, they had lawfare, they would do anything to destroy him. So they would have leaked something if there was anything to be leaked. So then what were they thinking? So now Trump has control over them, and all he has to do is say, I really didn't want to release them, and I probably didn't, because there's probably a few Republican grandee donors. So he probably was worried. He was getting calls. Please don't do that. There's not enough context. But that being said, you know what's going to happen. Every 2 weeks or something, a name is going to come out, and it's going to be a Democrat, and it's going to be a Larry Summers or a chief counsel person or somebody, and he's just going to let it keep going.
Yes.
And I don't know why they walked into this minefield.
Think about that. What if this whole story gets turned so that every other week we find out a new Democrat who is in the Epstein Files, and we've already heard everything there is to hear about Trump? I mean, think of that. If that's actually how this story lands, these Democrats and the media will run from this story so fast, it'll blow that hat right off your head.
Yes, they will, but the only rational explanation is they are so obsessed. We've all tried to figure out why they hate him so much. Maybe it's his Queen's accent, maybe it's his orange color, maybe it's comb over, I don't know, but maybe he had no political experience, but they are so obsessed with him that they do Jasmine Crockett talking about Lee Zeldin and this other Dr. Epstein.
It was amazing.
And it's every day, and so their only strategy now is to make these videos with the S word, the F word, to scream and yell, kickbox, say Trump is this and that, and they want us, as the American people, collectively to get in a fetal position, put our hands over there, and just make it go away. I don't care. That's not going to work.
That's not happening.
But that's their strategy, a total chaos.
My friend just lost her ring. She went to replace it. She realized it was a gold ring. The price of it has gone up like 25% since she bought the ring a year ago. That's because gold is on the march upward. And it is the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars, central banks are pulling from the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and military tension continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and if you are looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold, I say, with a qualifying purchase. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase will end on November 30th, so don't wait. Text MK to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.